It's your boy UpNexTshow and man, Young Threat. Young Threat. Young Threat has been arrested for a shooting around his neighborhood. And also in midst of that, also, I believe the person who got grazed in the leg is his own brother's girlfriend. But it's not looking too good for the young war vet, man. I'm saying, well, you know, he just gonna sit down like he's 17, so he might definitely come home for that. No one got killed or anything, but damn, Threat. It's like every time one about to come out, another goes in. It's like, God damn it, man. Let that avenue be great, man. But free Young Threat, man. It's only a short bid, man. You should be back home in no time, man. But it's your boy UpNexTshow, and man, shout out to your boy DMV Hoods and Beefs with breaking it down with y'all.
37th, saying a female was shot. Young Threat would be arrested today for that shooting. On August 20th, 2024, at approximately 2005 hours, the Command Information Center reported sounds of gunshots and gave a location of 276 37 inches, place SE. The ShotSpotter detection system reported 6 gunshots from the rear of the aforementioned location at approximately 8 hours, 5 minutes, and 29 seconds p.m. Moments later, a dark-in-color Mercedes C300 bearing Virginia registration TRZ 1,713 flags down, an MPD-marked cruiser with Officer Fargus in the 3,800 block of Ely Place, SE. The rear passenger of the vehicle confirms that she was grazed by a bullet on her left ankle. Medic 30 arrived on scene and treated the victim. However, the victim refused to go to the hospital. The passenger front door window and passenger rear door window both sustained one single defect indicative of a bullet hole. Detective Reynolds was able to interview the victim and learn the following. At approximately 2,000 hours, the victim, along with 2 other witnesses inside the aforementioned vehicle, drove to the victim's address, which was located in the 200 block of 371 Place SE. The victim was exiting the rear driver's side door with her child in her arms. As the victim is exiting the vehicle, the victim heard multiple sounds of gunshots and then entered back into the vehicle. The victim realized she was hit by gunfire. The driver of the vehicle drove to where Officer Fargus was stationed and flagged him down. Detective Lee interviewed the 2 other passengers, witnesses, inside of the vehicle. W1 stated she sat in the front passenger seat of her daughter's car. W2, when she heard about 3 shots and felt the window glass break. W1 told her niece, V1, get back inside the car, and she told her daughter to pull off. W1 stated they went to Ridge Road, SE, where she saw the Officer Fargus vehicle and flagged Officer Fargus for help. WW, I mentioned there was a black SUV, but when she was asked if the black SUV had anything to do with the shooting or anyone fired a gun out of the SUV. W, I stated she did not see it and she did not know where was the shooting coming from. W1 did not have any injury. W2, who was the driver of her vehicle, came to 37th Place SE to drop off her cousin at home. W2 stated as she parked her car on the right side on the top circle and let her cousin, V1, open the rear door to exit her car when W2 heard about 2 shots. W2 stated it sounded like firecrackers, but when she noted the broken glass on her window, W2 told her cousin to get back in her car and drove away from the scene. W2 stated she saw a DC Housing Police in 37th Street SE, but they did not do anything, ignoring her. W2 then drove away from there, where she saw Officer Fargus' vehicle in 3,800 block of Ely Place SE, and flagged Officer down for assistance. W2 did not have any injury. W2 was asked where was the shot coming, and she answered she did not see it nor saw the shooter, only heard it. W2 also mentioned a black SUV, but when asked was the black SUV involved in the shooting, and she answered she did not know. MPD officers canvassed the offense location and located 4.40 caliber spent shell casings next to the dumpster that is at the end of the alley in the rear of 27637 Place SE. Detective Reynolds arrived at the offense location and was notified by the Real-Time Crime Center that they have reviewed the CCTV cameras at the location, as well as cameras that belong to DC Housing Authority. The cameras reviewed were labeled as 25237 Place SE and 26837 Place SE. At approximately 2005 hours, a black male wearing a black hooded jacket with a small white logo on the front, black pants, and black shoes walks westbound on the raised ledge in the rear of 276-371 H Place SE, while at the same time, the aforementioned black in color SUV pulls near the dumpsters. The aforementioned subject is observed extending his arms, and a flash of smoke is observed coming from the end of his extended arms, which were aimed directly where the victim's vehicle was parked. At the same time, a group of individuals who were observed on CCTV congregating in the rear of the location appear to react to the sounds of gunshots. The suspect then runs down a flight of stairs and enters 28037 Place SE through the rear door. To note, Detective Reynolds did not receive the information regarding the CCTV footage until approximately 2200 hours. The front of the residence/courtyard does not have any operable CCTV cameras to capture any person/suspect fleeing the target residence through the front door. Upon receiving the information that the shooter entered the residence, Detective Reynolds requested additional MPD uniformed officers to secure the exterior of the residence. Detective Reynolds, Detective Sergeant Massey, and Officer Hill conducted a door knock on the front door of the target residence. A young African-American male opened the door and was detained by MPD. The residence was swept for additional residents, which none were found. Detective Reynolds was advised by DC Housing Authority that the current leaseholder is Miss Andrea Mazik. Detective Reynolds obtained Miss Mazik's phone number and talked to her via telephone. Miss Mazik was updated of the situation. Vizel Mazik did not grant consent to MPD to search her home. Miss Mazik also refused to identify who her son is. Detective Reynolds authored an emergency search warrant, which was signed by the Honorable Judge Juliet McKenna. Detective Reynolds, who was accompanied by Detective Sergeant Massey, executed the search warrant at 28037 Place SE. MPD officers Newton and Ross were on scene with BWCs activated. Miss Andrea Mazik was also on scene, who was served a copy of the search warrant. The young man who was inside of the residence was ultimately identified. She verified as her son, Mr. Michael Mazik, BMDOB, August 13, 2007. He did not have any active warrants. The items recovered from inside of the residence, top floor, back bedroom, clear plastic shelving, were 3 magazines. One magazine had a capacity of 33 Chris 10 mm and was empty. The second magazine had a capacity of 17 Glock 9 mm with 1 live round. The third magazine had a capacity of 10 mm with 8 live rounds. The listed items were recovered as evidence. Detective Reynolds learned from Miss Mazik that the room where the magazines were found is her daughter Michaela's room, who is a juvenile. The listed items recovered will be further discussed, reviewed at a later date with Michaela and her mother, Miss Mazik. At approximately 0140 hours on August 21st, 2024, Detective Reynolds received information from Officers Dameron and Moore in reference to the identity of the suspect that was featured in the bolo, Be on the Lookout, that Detective Reynolds distributed to the force. Detective Reynolds received additional information from Officer Porter about the identity of the suspect based on the bolo. MPD officers, who are familiar and have had multiple interactions with Mr. McKee Wilkins, notified Detective Reynolds of the positive identification and that they immediately identified McKee Wilkins based on their previous experience. Furthermore, Detective Reynolds compared Instagram pictures from Mr. Wilkins' account to that of the bolo. The pictures were captured from Mr. Wilkins' Instagram page, ithreat37, and Officer Moore stated that the photographs were from his IG Live the day of the incident. The image of the suspect from the offense location shows Mr. Wilkins wearing a black Under Armour skull cap on top of his head a black hoodie with a necklace draped around his neck. The necklace's pendant is medium-sized and is visible near the chest area. Mr. Wilkins was wearing black pants and black shoes. The shoes are black in color and have an emblem, Siash, pendant on top of the laces. See attachment with photographs. Detective Reynolds learned that Mr. Wilkins was being monitored by pretrial services and was currently on GPS. Detective Reynolds made contact with Mr. David Cooper from pretrial services and requested the GPS tracks for Mr. Mekhi Wilkins. The time frame requested was from 1900 hours to 0400 hours, August 20th to August 21st. Detective Reynolds reviewed the report from pretrial services, and at 8 hours 5 minutes and 39 seconds p.m., Mr. Wilkins' tracks show him in the rear of 27837 Place SE. To note, the CCTV footage that was retrieved shows only one person in the rear of the aforementioned location during the time of the shooting. The shot spotter notification alerted to the sounds of gunshots at 8 hours 5 minutes and 29 seconds p.m. hours in the rear of 27637 H Place SE. Of note, the sounds of gunshots on ShotSpotter lasted approximately 6 seconds from the beginning of the shooting to the end. The GPS tracker that Mr. Wilkins is wearing also shows the miles per hour, MPH, that he is traveling. At the timestamp of 8 hours 5 minutes and 39 seconds p.m., it shows that Mr. Wilkins was traveling at a pace of 7 miles per hour. The GPS tracker appears to track minute by minute of Mr. Wilkins' location. See attachment of GPS tracks for further information. With the facts and circumstances regarding the identity of Mr. Wilkins provided by MPD officers and the specific clothing he is observed wearing on CCTV and also on Instagram, as well as the CCTV footage timestamps and the GPS track timestamps, probable cause was established to place Mr. Mekhi Wilkins under arrest for assault with a dangerous weapon. After this, the police would catch Threat walking out the spot and bag him. He would have 2 cell phones, a chain that stated 900 Monroe, 3 THC wax glass containers, a Mylar bag containing 19 white pills stamped RP20, and $342 US currency. That's the end of this.